Nafshi yeshovev, yeshovev, yancheni b'magelei tzedek, yancheni b'magelei tzedek, leman shemo. Gam ki yelech begitz al mavet lo ira ki hatayim mari shiftecha umishantecha Taroch lefanai, lefanai, shulchan getzorerai, tishanta vashemen roshi kosi.
As we have come together to mourn the death of our beloved Mackie, we turn to the words of our scripture, the Hebrew Bible, Psalm 23. Recite the words that Cantor Seeger just sang so beautifully. If you're familiar with the words, please join me. God is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. Esa einai el hecharim, me'ayin yavo ezri. I lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your soul, your going and coming, now and forever. There is a poem based on the words of Solomon called Untimely Death. A good person, though taken from us too soon, will rest in peace. For honor in old age does not come from length of life. Honor in old age does not come from length of years. Understanding is the gray hair of humanity. A blameless life is ripeness of age. Perfection in limited years is like living for many years. So a good person, though taken from us too soon, will rest in peace. Let us then, with peace of mind, let that good soul rest. Sherry and Kelly have both prepared some remarks in honor of their mother. I invite them to the bima.
I know my mom loved me. She loved me so much. From as early as I can remember, she always put me first. She protected me. She gave up so much for me. At the time, I was too young to understand everything, but I knew that my mom made everything better. Even as an adult, just being with my mom made everything better. When she lived in Birmingham, we would cuddle in her bed, just like I do with my kids today. When she moved to Minneapolis and I didn't feel good, I knew that going to her house and lying in her bed just made everything better. She always made me feel safe and protected. I travel most every week for work, and whenever I was in New York, LA, London, Mexico, Paris, my mom would always text me and say, "Did you land yet?" No matter what time zone. I took a red-eye home from LA this past week, which was supposed to land at 6:10. But I didn't end up landing until 7 a.m. When I looked at my phone at 6:30, she texted me and said, "Are you home yet?" I'm not sure my mom ever slept when I was traveling. This past summer when we went to Israel for Erica's bat mitzvah, it was a very hard decision knowing that my parents would not be able to make the trip. But that didn't stop my mom. As Erica was becoming a bat mitzvah at 9 a.m. in Israel, we were FaceTiming at 1 a.m. in Minneapolis with my mom. We set the phone next to the Torah, and my mom sang every prayer with Erica. The connection was a little delayed, and we had a good laugh when she was always a verse behind. Regardless of the city I was in, or even if we were 2 blocks away, I talked to my mom every day, either by phone or text. One night long ago on a Saturday night, I sent her a text at 4 o'clock just to say hi. I didn't hear back. At 5 o'clock, I sent her a text with a bunch of question marks. By 6 o'clock, I was calling multiple times and texting, "Where are you?" At 7 o'clock, I was calling my sister, whose response was, "It is statistically impossible for them to have a medical emergency at the same time," which did not make me feel any better. And by 8 o'clock, I had left dinner, taking Dana with me, on my way to my parents' house to see what was happening. Sure enough, 2 things happened. Number 1, on the way over there, my mom called laughing because she had just seen multiple messages and missed phone calls, only to tell me that she and my dad went to dinner and a movie and had left her phone at home. The number 2 thing that happened is that I realized I had just turned into my mom. I know my mom loved my family. When Erica was born, she was her baby, not mine. Whenever we came to visit in Birmingham, She invited all of her friends over to see Erica. She showed her off like the proud bubby she was. She was also called Bubby because she was so excited for Erica to say something, and she thought Bubby was easier to say than Grandma. Erica set the tone, and my mom played into it. Then came Alex, and all that came along with Alex. I don't know what I would have done without my mom during this crazy time. After every appointment, my mom called. She did her own research and even met with doctors in Birmingham. Once diagnosed, my mom did everything to make sure Alex felt like any other kid. Instead of brisket, she served fish, and instead of steak, she served lamb. She didn't care what we ate as long as we were together. I always knew she was happy when she cried, and she cried a lot when we were together, so I guess she was happy. She cried every Shabbat when we lit the candles. The first few times she cried over the candles, I called her out on it. To me, I was just trying to make light of the situation, but then I realized that her crying were tears of joy, and I wanted her to have that. So instead, I just started to look out of the corner of my eye to see that she was crying, and I always smiled. She cried at birthdays, she cried at swim meets, she cried at Alex's first grade choir concert. She always cried. I guess that meant she was always happy. She knew that I wanted her to move back to Minneapolis. I told her that I thought it would be great for her to have a closer relationship with the grandkids. That wasn't the whole truth. I wanted her to be here with me. I wanted my mom. I missed her. Whenever we left Birmingham, I wouldn't leave without her committing to the next time I would see her. My mom loved my dad. Oh my God, did she love my dad? But oh my God, did he make her crazy. She would call me saying, "I'm going to kill your father." And I would laugh and ask, what did he do now? It was always something like, he's getting on a ladder to go into the attic and he's going to fall and kill himself. Or he's not doing his physical therapy. Or something as simple as Sherm drink more water. Or being on the boat and my mom yelling at him not to hit the dock at full speed. Once again, she was always trying to keep everyone she loved safe and protected. I promise, Mom, I will always keep Dad safe and protected. And I promise Paul will always change the light bulbs. Oh, Paul. My mom loved him so much. He wasn't a son-in-law, he was her son. When she called every night just to say hi, she knew she could count on Paul just to talk to her. Paul loves to talk, and they were a great match. I can't believe this is happening. It's not okay. You had so much more to teach me, and you had so much more to do with my kids, and you had so many more adventures with Dad. We have this thing in my family where we never hang up without saying love you. My grandma said it, my cousins say it, and I say it to my kids. But it's not just saying I love you. We always say, love you. So, Mom, love you.
Mackie and I had developed a closer relationship in the year that her and Dad moved back to Minnesota than we had ever had before. I will remember and cherish all the times we were together, just the two of us, talking. She had become my number one confidant in helping me with my problems, but she also shared with me her problems and her stories, her fears and her thoughts. And I felt that we were becoming close friends. She would always very fiercely protect me. In the past 2 days, I learned that she made other people feel like that too. I sat next to my dad and heard the conversation when he got individual calls from two sisters who were both crying on the phone telling my dad how much he and Mackie had meant to them, how they were there for them at a low time in their life and gave them love and attention. They said that Sherman and Mackie were like parents to them. Then I heard a similar repeat of those same words when Cantor Jennifer Seeger told my dad how much he and Mackie had meant to her and that they were like parents to her when she was alone in Birmingham. Mackie had so much love to give, and it had no limits. She wanted so much to be close to her children and grandchildren, and there was so much excitement and anticipation when we got the news that they were moving here. 1 year, that's all that we got. My dad keeps saying she was just getting started, but I keep thinking about all that she accomplished in the year that she was here. She and my dad fulfilled one of their dreams of having a boat on Lake Minnetonka, hosting their kids and their grandchildren and all of their friends, and enjoying life with the wind in their hair, the sun shining on their face, and enjoying the comfort rocking of the boat on the water. It was very peaceful until the moment Mackie would start screaming, "Sherm, you're about to hit that boat!" Speaking of Sherman, he was the light of her life and the center of her world. Every minute she was thinking about her Shermie. What was he going to eat next? How much water was he drinking? Was he feeling okay? Is he getting out enough and enjoying his friends? Is he happy? And if not, what is bothering him so that she could fix it? My dad is going to be lost without his Mackie, and will need lots of calls and love and support by everyone here. My sister is so strong. She is so stoic. She does what she thinks is right and makes no excuses about it. Like Mackie, she loves so deeply and has a strong commitment to family, and will fiercely defend me and everyone that she loves. Sherry got so many wonderful traits from her mom, and I will forever remember Mackie every time I am with and loving Sherry. Mackie, my heart is broken, and life is unfair. I can't believe I will never see you again, but like I promised you, I will help take care of your Shermie and Sherry and your precious grandchildren. We will keep the family together, and we will celebrate through good times and struggles together. And I will always forever remember your loving spirit.
In the world of classical music, there is one symphony that is different from all of the others. The reason is that the composer Franz Schubert never finished it. Schubert wrote the first movement, put it away in his drawer, and before he could finish it, he died. Hence its name, the Unfinished Symphony. Though Schubert did not have the privilege of finishing his symphony, the entire world is the richer in that it possesses this wonderful piece of music. And despite the fact that it breaks off before it is complete, it is nonetheless a masterpiece. Mackie is, for those gathered here today, an unfinished symphony. We wish we could hear the rest of it. But the part that we had was a blessing for the whole world. Mackie was born in Chicago and grew up in Wisconsin, across the street from her mother, sister, and family, and her cousin Karen. From an early age, family was the center point of her life. She loved being at her grandmother's house, which had a tiny kitchen that somehow produced an amazing amount of food that everyone loved and looked forward to. Grandmothers are indeed very special. When Mackie completed high school, she attended the University of Florida in Gainesville and ultimately settled in Florida. And it was in Florida that Mackie and Sherm met. Sherm's company had a division there and sent him to lead the hiring of a new rep. They met on his first trip, and they hit it off, and they planned to stay in touch. But that was back when there was such a thing as a long-distance bill. And Sherm couldn't frequently call her because the company monitored the phone bill. But they did, however, have an 800 line, and Mackie pretty quickly figured out that it was not monitored and that she could call it every day. Sherm continued to lead the project in Florida. He went at every opportunity. And it wasn't long before he was taken to meet Karen for approval. And then the day arrived when Sherm flew down there and they drove back to Minneapolis to be together for good. Sherm, as we all know, you were her everything. She lived to take care of you. Unbeknownst to you, she called your office every day to ask your assistant if your face had the right color and if you were breathing okay. She cared so deeply for you. You had a beautiful life together, and all of us here are so sorry for your loss. Mackie had a big personality, as those who knew her surely know. You could always count on her. She would always help you make a decision. She was decisive and honest, and she was one of the few people who would actually tell you the truth and what she was thinking. Mackie was, in her own right, an excellent cook. People far and wide waited for invitations to eat at her table. As a bubby herself, she replicated her grandmother's kitchen for her own family. Being a bubby, as her grandmother had been for her, was perhaps her greatest role in life. Nothing was more important to her than her grandchildren. As we heard from Sherry and Kelly, Mackie and Sherm moved here for the grandchildren, despite the snow. She had such special relationships with each of them. Sleepovers and group chats on Shabbat to say Shabbat Shalom, memories from visiting Birmingham, music and food. Grandmas are very special. She had so much more to give. And given how committed she was to family and to Sherm and to Sherry and Kelly and their families, it's hard to imagine that she had time really for anything else. But she always had time for her other great love in life, music. Mackie had wanted to be a cantor, but when she was young, women weren't cantors. She would have been an amazing cantor. When she sang, or as Sherm called it, chirped, and she was chirping at the synagogue, she always smiled because it made her so happy. And Sherm, you and the whole family are so lucky that somewhere on your telephone are some videos. You should make sure that somebody helps you preserve those. Just a few months ago, Sherm and Mackie came in to speak with me about joining our congregation. Mackie commanded that conversation. It was as if she was interviewing for a job. She wanted me to know all of her experiences in her prior congregation, that she had helped co-write a prayer book. She was going to bring me a copy of it. And then we talked at length about her favorite contemporary artists and musicians. And she wanted to know if she could join the choir right away. And I said, of course. And she jumped right in. And she also began to sing with our contemporary Shabbat Ruach ensemble. We were all excited about the new energy that she brought to both groups, not to mention her encyclopedic knowledge of contemporary Jewish music. Somebody would just mention a song or a tune or a melody, and she could come up with a list of 10 others. I had lots of plans for her. I'm sad for Bet Shalom that we only had her for such a short period. And I know that so many people here in her new community send you and the whole family their condolences. She went home this last Friday night and she got into her comfortable chair and she posted on Facebook about the evening. She wrote, "Great Shabbat evening. Beautiful services with the choir at Beit Shalom. Got home in time to enjoy the biennial song session. You know I'm happy." Lots of exclamation points. And that was essentially the last thing that she told the world. Mackie made friends everywhere she went. She and Sherm created a wonderful community over the past year, and she was so excited for this new life in Minnesota. The poet Chaim Nachman Bialik wrote, when I die, eulogize me in this way. There was once a man, but he is no more. He died before his time. His life's song stopped in midstream, and it is sad. He had one more song, but now that song is lost forever. Mackie had many more songs to sing. She was a strong and inspiring woman who loved her family, and she loved her friends. May she live on in each of you as you live as she would have, loving fiercely and singing songs of joy. Zichrona livracha. May her memory be for a blessing for you and through you. Let's take a few moments to remember her each in our own way.
Shiviti Adonai lenei ditamin kimimini balemot lachin samach libi vayagel kevadi af besari shkon lavetach ki lo tazov nafshi lishol lo titein chasid halirot shachat todieni Vasemachot et panecha neimot bimin chanatzach shiviti Adonai lenegti Kimimini balemot.
Please rise for El Malei Rachamim, the memorial prayer.
El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Mamromim, Amsin Nechona Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, Im Kedoshim Utechorim, Kezahar Harakim Mazihirim, את נשמת מנרה יקירנו שהלך לעולמו בעל הרחמים יסתיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים החיים את נשמתה אדוני הוא נחלתה ותנוחה בשלום על משכבה
Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Maxine, Mackie, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence. Let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. Let us say, Amen. Amen. Immediately following our service this morning, we will go in procession to the cemetery, the Adath Cemetery on Winnetka in New Hope. The family will gather for Shiva at 7 p.m. tonight and tomorrow night at Sherry and Paul's home.